On our top story, though, tonight, some of the video that you're about to see is very graphic. Gregory Newsom is charged with capital murder, and as KLTV's J.D. Connie reports, dash camera video shown to the jury and the rest of the court. They saw it all. Dickerson's final moments on day one. Take a look.
Tear-jerking testimony on day one. In the early hours of December 31st, 2019, Chris Dickerson pulled over a vehicle with a broken taillight. But as he approaches the vehicle, he takes his last few breaths.
And the man who executed him that night is sitting right there in this courtroom.
Prosecutors say Gregory Newsom ambushed Dickerson. Two lawyers from the Attorney General's office are prosecuting the case. In a Gregg County courtroom, Newsom's lawyer argued he would not receive a fair trial in Panola County. A man who lives on the street of the alleged murder testified. Prosecutors say he's the reason Dickerson was found so quickly. He came outside and found Dickerson face down. He then used Dickerson's radio. An off-duty Henderson police officer heard the call on the scanner and eventually caught up to Newsom. Robert Del Conte was shot at multiple times. Newsom was arrested that evening in Shreveport. Sheriff Kevin Lake had to notify Dickerson's family.
That was 1,758 days ago. You don't forget something like that.
The state says Newsom had marijuana and a large amount of cash in his vehicle. J.D. Conti, KLTV 7 News.
Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in this case. Testimony continues tomorrow morning, and we will follow it all the way till it's finished.